world has changed. America has changed. If something were to happen tomorrow, how self-sufficient would you be? Could you grow your own food? Could you sustain your own livestock? Could you survive? This is the We Grow Our Show with Nick and Don. Nick and Don talk about everything from politics to planting. They cover techniques, methods, and tips on how to not only survive, but thrive. Visit the website at WeGrowOurs.com. Lock and load. This is the We Grow Our Show. Get your grow on.
Welcome back to the We Grow Our Show. Got an awesome show planned for you today. Don, that awesome does not mean edit.
Okay, because I'm trained. Every time I hear awesome, it's an edit cue. So you've screwed me up from the beginning now.
It's kind of like the game catchphrase.
Yes, I love that game.
You do?
I do. Yes.
That's awesome. Edit here. No.
We have a family game night at my sister's place that we do catchphrase.
Oh, okay.
And we go out and we do swimming and it used to be every week. Now it's down to like once a month. We got to get back to every week. So we do this whole thing with everybody comes over. We bring a rabbit to grill. You know, we do the whole 9 yards. So it's a lot of fun.
Huh. That sounds like a blast.
Yeah. You and Sheree ought to come one of these days.
That sounds good. Sign me up for everything but the swimming.
Yeah. You don't like swimming?
Well, I like to swim, but every time I get in the pool, somebody yells out, Shamu! And it hurts my feelings. I think it has to do with my black and white swim trunks.
Yeah, I will be sure to yell out Shamu.
And the dorsal fin.
The dorsal fin, nice.
I've got a birth defect, okay? Just give me a break.
You're like wagging your tail, right?
Yeah. Oh, gosh, you're such an a-hole.
I know.
Speaking of a-holes, I had...
That's the first good segue you've done in the whole freaking history of the show. Keep going.
Anyway, so anybody who's ever driven with me knows that when I'm in my car, that is my kingdom, and I have a little bit of an issue there. I'm working on it. I've got some therapeutic tapes that I've been playing while driving, but I've come to the conclusion that you just can't fix stupid. And there's just a whole bunch of stupid on the roadways. So the other day, I'm driving along in my not so environmentally friendly truck. I've got a Nissan Titan, the V8 in it. And it was about 8:50 in the morning, so traffic is pretty well cleared up, but there's still big globs of it. And I'm in the fast lane doing about 75 and the 65. And I come up on this red Prius, and he's doing 55 miles an hour. And nobody's going to let me around because I've got a big truck with, decals and stuff on it. And they think it's a company truck. So nobody's, letting me merge. And I come up on this Prius, and I'm like, he's going to move. Doesn't move. And I'm looking at the back, and he's got vegan and love and peace and coexist. And his license plate says hugs. And I'm thinking, oh, you are so not my people. And I come up and I don't tailgate him, but I'm close.
I don't believe you. I really don't. I've driven with you. You tailgate him. You know it.
All right. Yeah. I was thinking, okay, maybe if I got a little closer and he could see me in his rearview mirror, he would actually see that my truck was going to eat his car. But that didn't play out like that. So finally, a lane opened up alongside me, and I dropped gears and hit the gas, and cold air intake on it, and it's loud and it's angry, and it just yells out, "I'm hurting the environment." And this little Prius, I couldn't even see into the car because it's right alongside me, but I see the roof of the car, and he comes into my lane acting like he's going to hit me and drive me off the road.
How did that work?
Oh no. So immediately I'm like, really? So I let him know who I am with all of my hostile hair, rabbits with guns, and control what you eat from seed to meat plastered all over my truck. pull over in front of him and let him read it for like 15 minutes. and he gets over and I get over and he gets over and I get over. And I know he's not armed because he's freaking left his center.
It says that right on his car.
It just, if you own a Prius with an Obama sticker, it just means rob me. I'm gunless. Sorry, I'm pissing off everybody today. Oh,
so just for the record, I respect vegans.
You know what? I do too. As long as you're not militant and force feed me your fad diet.
Right.
Because that's what it is.
Well, the people that piss me off are the ones that tell you that you have a small wee-wee. All right, that came out of nowhere.
You and the wife having troubles again?
I made a comment the other day on the Whole Foods thing.
Oh, yeah.
Last week we talked about the Whole Foods carrying rabbits.
Yeah.
So I went to Whole Foods and there's a whole thing about boycott Whole Foods. So I put on, hey, I think rabbit is a better choice. It's more sustainable. The whole 9 yards. Mm-hmm. And I was told I had a small wee-wee and I was, ostracized on the thing. And this coming from somebody who, because rabbits are cute and fluffy and has a pet rabbit, thinks it's okay to eat chicken and beef and other things. Well, what's the difference? They're
exactly.
food.
It's exactly.
And I understand having a pet rabbit. I think I grew up, my mom had a pet rabbit, McGregor, a big Holland Lop, like 30-pound Holland Lop. This thing was huge. And
might have been an English Lop.
Well, whatever it was. My mom told you about it.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Whatever it was. It was a big rabbit. So I think that's fine having a pet. But my chickens are pets, for goodness sakes.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And we still eat chicken.
You can make a pet out of pretty much any living animal that you can stand.
Yeah.
I don't recommend picking up a rattlesnake.
I don't get it. But they'll sit there and tell you, oh, you're so cruel, and while they're eating a hamburger.
Exactly.
And, that's what I don't respect. At least vegans, they stick by their, okay, they don't want to eat meat. They think it's cruel. At least they don't eat meat. At least
they're not a hypocrite.
I don't have any problem with that.
I can respect that.
That's right.
But you're not going to stop people from eating meat.
That's what I said. And I told them, you're not going to stop people from eating meat. Let's find a more sustainable solution at least. And no, I do not have a small wee-wee. People start name calling. The argument's over. You can't go any further.
Oh, that's every conversation I've had in politics, and I won't even, you guys know where I'm at, but as soon as I have the conversation, the first thing they do is insult manhood. They insult, way of life. And I have never been insulting until fired upon,
I love a good debate of ideas.
Oh, yeah.
And I think I have a fairly open mind. I'm willing to change my mind if I find something that somebody can convince me of. Great.
Yeah. In fact, I've had a lot of people explain Karl Marx's ideas.
Yeah.
And honestly, they're not bad ideas.
They just can't be attainable.
Exactly. It's not attainable as long as we have this human condition.
Right.
So without getting into religion, there are some religions that teach that about a community that can self-sustain and everybody can share evenly.
Oh, it would be nice if we were at least more self-sustainable.
Yeah, exactly.
That's all we want to do, So again, we're going to unite around food. Mm-hmm. We've got Will Harris of White Oak Pastures today.
That's right.
Coming on. Go check out the website too. And they even you can buy some of their food online. 100% organic, USDA certified. This place is doing it right. So, let's bring on Will Harris with White Oak Pastures. It's whiteoakpastures.com. Check it out during the show if you can. And
I like what he calls himself, a steward of the land.
I respect that. And and he's not a farmer. He's a farmer, but he's a steward of the land first.
That's right.
So,
without further ado, we'll have on Will Harris.
What will you do when your stored supplies run out? Are you prepared? Hostile Hair provides equipment and education you need to control your own infinite food supply. We have live food storage systems, rabbits, quail, and other urban livestock for any situation and strategy. Don't be limited by what's on the shelves. Get started with an infinite food source today. Get prepped, stay fed with Hostile Hair. Call 480-331-3761 or visit hostlehair.com.
All right, welcome back to the We Grow Our show. We got a very special guest, a fellow animal killer. No, just kidding. We've got a steward of the land, a man that knows how to farm. We got Will Harris with White Oak Farms.
White Oak Pastures.
Pastures. My apologies. White Oak Pastures. Will, how are you today?
I'm doing great. Appreciate you fellas having me on the show. Delighted to be with you.
Hey, you're a man after my own heart. I got to tell you, I got on your website, taking a look at it, and I immediately needed some lamb chops. Those are some amazing cuts. I'm ready to go home and order about $3,000 worth.
Good. www.whiteoakpastures.com. They'll fix you up.
There you go.
Man,
now, well, one of the reasons I want to have you on is because if you go to the website, you're not just about selling the meat, but you actually seem to have 150 years of history in your family of farming. You've kind of come this full circle, and you're a land steward. So tell me a little bit about that. Tell me what you guys do and what sets you apart from other farms out there.
Good. Well, as you mentioned, my great grandfather came to this farm in 1866 after the what he called the Northern Invasion. He was a cavalry officer for the South and was lost the farm that he had about 3 counties north of here, and was very fortunate. He had an uncle who was a medical doctor in the old town of Bluffton, Georgia, and he started my great grandfather over here almost 150 years ago, and I'm the 4th generation of my family on this farm. I have 2 daughters and a son-in-law and a daughter-in-law on the farm who are the 5th generation. And, I guess the thing that I'm probably most proud of is the way that during the 150 years and 5 generations of my family's ownership here, the farm has come full circle. It went from a sustenance farm after the war during the Reconstruction period. There would have been a very high animal welfare standard and high levels of environmental sustainability for the land, because that's all they had was the land and the animals. And it would have all been about taking care of the land and the animals. My grandfather would have run it in much the same way, although he was pretty entrepreneurial and grew the farm a good bit. My father took over the farm post-World War II, and that was the game changer. If you know much about agricultural history, post-World War II is when we made 3 enormous changes to agriculture in this country. We industrialized it, we centralized it, and we commoditized it. And we could spend a lot of time talking about those 3 things, but and doing those 3 things, I will say, was wildly successful. The goal of making those 3 changes was to make food cheap and abundant and safe from the perspective you wouldn't eat it and fall over with an acute illness.
Yes.
And it was very successful in doing those 3 things. Unfortunately, there were unintended consequences.
Well, if my history serves me, that was about the same time that we started seeing supermarkets. Was about that 1943 and on was the first widespread supermarkets.
It did. That's exactly right. And the centralization of the food production made supermarkets practical. That's a very good observation. Mm-hmm. And so, there were unintended consequences. It did some good things that I've already pointed out. But the unintended consequences fell primarily on the backs of animal welfare, food animals, the environment, the land and the water, and the economy of rural America all suffered greatly under the industrialization, commoditization, and centralization of agriculture.
I agree with you.
But in the brain closure, my daughters and I have brought it back to the high animal welfare, high environmentally sustainable production system that my great-grandfather had. We use a lot of technology, but the system is the same. It's all about the animals and the land.
Yeah. Now, I mean, you're doing beef, you're doing lamb, poultry, eggs. You even do rabbits and hogs. Is that correct?
We do. We do 5 red meat species: cows, hogs, sheep, goats, rabbits, pasture raised, hand butchered here on the farm. 5 poultry species, pasture raised and hand butchered here on the farm: chickens, turkeys, geese, guineas, and ducks. We have pastured eggs, certified organic vegetables. We make soap. We make biodiesel. We have solar voltaic to power the plants. We vegetable tan hides. We have a restaurant on the farm. We have lodging for agritourism on the farm. Have 110 employees.
Wow. So you guys have quite the operation out there.
It's the most simple business in the world. We own land and we own animals, and they breed and are born and grow, and we turn them into meat. We slaughter them, turn them into meat, and they do it again.
Right.
It's more simple than any business other than hunter-gatherer. But there's just a lot of moving parts to it. There's just a lot of things going on here, kind of 24/7.
Well, and I mean, you're USDA certified organic. Is that correct?
That's correct. And we have 2 abattoirs or slaughterhouses on the farm. One for red meat, one for poultry. We have a USDA inspector here Monday through Friday. 2 of them, actually. Two inspectors. Monday through Friday from 7:30 to 4:30.
Nothing like having an old government babysitter right there on site, right?
Well, I mean, they're here to keep the food supply safe, and we're not adversarial as they are in so many of the big industrial plants. It's not, nobody enjoys being watched. It's not a bad relationship.
No, and I've been talking with the USDA inspector here in town. I'm a rabbit raiser myself, and we've been trying to get something going for human consumption. But it's funny getting set up. There's not a whole lot of info they give you up front. It's just kind of like, we'll do it, and we'll tell you what you did wrong.
That's exactly the way it works.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah, I've been through it. I've been through it with 2 plants. We spent about $7.5 million building plants and equipment for the not for the farm, but for the value addition, the slaughter, the eggs, the restaurant, and with USDA, they won't tell you what to do. You do what you think is best, and then they'll do a walkthrough and tell you what you did wrong.
Wow.
There's a wall in my house that's got my head print in it where I went home and just banged my head against the wall.
So, tell me about some of the parts of farming that make it, like you said, you're more of a steward of the land. The animals are there and you help raise them, but you let them do what they do. So what are some of the things that are happening around your farm that are different than what we might see at other farms, that are non-organic or factory farms?
Let me answer the first question first. There is, how we got here. I think what you said, what's different about it. And, we were under my father's watch, in the first 20 years of my watch, it was a very industrial farm. It was a monoculture of only cattle. We used all the tools, subtherapeutic antibiotics and hormone implants and pesticides, chemical fertilizers, and genetically modified organisms, whatever else that was out there that was labeled and legal, we used it. And I really enjoyed farming that way. We were cowboys, and I liked it, and I've done it all my life. And went to the University of Georgia and majored in animal husbandry, and it was good to me, and we were successful at it. We made money every year. It wasn't a get rich deal, but we paid taxes every year. We lived a comfortable standard of living. But what was, I guess I started transitioning when I was about 40 years old. And, it just wasn't as much fun for me as it had been when I was in my 30s or 20s. I was still healthy and vigorous, but the excesses of that production system had started to, I went from enjoying it to not really enjoying it to not liking it to being disgusted by it. So the first thing I did was I gave up confinement. It was a monoculture of cattle. I gave up confinement feeding my cattle corn and soy. I just let them graze. I gave up hormone implants and subtherapeutic antibiotics. And I thought that was all I would ever need or want to do. But in a few years, I realized that putting chemical fertilizers and pesticides on my pasture was not good. So I quit doing that. And then I realized that the worst thing I was doing was maintaining a monoculture. Nature abhors a monoculture.
You mean God doesn't plant his corn in rows?
God doesn't have all the foxes in one set of woods and all the deer in another woods and all the oak trees in one forest and all the pine trees in another forest. That's exactly right. So we added other species, and then we realized that hauling animals a long way to slaughter them was bad, so we built the abattoirs or slaughterhouses. And, now we understand that it's not a destination, it's a journey. I'm 59. I've been changing things since I was 40. And, I realize that I'll be changing things as long as I farm, and then my family will be changing things after I'm not farming anymore.
I like it. That's pretty good, man. My dad, he's a cattleman. A beef herd up in southwest Wisconsin. And, they're in open conditions. They're not in a stockyard. They're not in their own crap up to their knees. But I've been picking at them a little bit, trying to get them to drop the implants, stop feeding them all the corn and kind of move towards, because his farm is over 60% pasture. So he's got plenty of pasture ground. He's got plenty of open area. And if he fenced off the rest of it and quit growing so much, you still got to grow a crop for winter, but if he moved more towards baling up alfalfa and some good, orchard grass and stuff like that, he'd make it through the winter better, and he wouldn't have to do all of the implants. But here's a question for you, and this is an argument that I have with old school cattlemen versus the grass-fed guys. How do you marble your meat? Do you get marbled meat on pasture-fed animals?
Well, it won't be as marbled as grain-fed animal, just as simple as that. When I butcher a calf, try to remember these numbers as I give them to you. I'm going to give you two sets of numbers.
Oh boy. Hold on. Let me grab a pencil.
All right. Okay. So when I butcher a steer, it will be about 20 or 22 months old. It'll weigh about 1,000 pounds. It'll have about 0.2 of an inch of fat at the 12th rib. And it's an athlete. And it'll probably grade select, which is an indication that it's got some marbling, but not nearly as much marbling as it potentially could have. And if I let that animal, if I gave him a presidential pardon and decided to not slaughter him at 20 or 22 months, and just left him in the conditions he was in the pasture, he would live the normal life expectancy of a cow, which is about 24, 5 years. And that's great. That's fine. That's good. Now, if you like highly marbled meat, that's fine. But it will come from an animal that's about 17 months old that has about 3/4 of an inch of back fat, about 3 or 4 times as much as mine has. and weighs probably 1,250 or 1,300 pounds, even though it's only 17 months old. And that animal will grade choice or prime, which means it's got a lot of marbling. But that animal is the equivalent of a guy, I'm 5'11", but a guy my height that weighs like 475 pounds. It is an unnaturally obese creature that would never exist in nature. Never. And that animal, if it were granted a presidential pardon and were allowed to keep living in that feedlot beyond its 17 months or so, would not live anything like a normal life expectancy of a cow, because it's dying of all the diseases of obesity and sedentary lifestyle that kill people. So if you like marbling, that's great. But I hope you don't fool yourself by thinking that you're eating really healthy when you're eating a dying creature.
No, and I'm not arguing with you. That is the.
It would be best not to argue with me about that.
Trust me, sir. I am not squaring off with you on that. No, and that's the conversation I've had in, I tell people grass-fed is great. That's a healthy, lean meat. And if you're used to marbling and that's what you're buying, then you're not going to get a grass-fed beef.
I cringe when I hear, occasionally I'll hear an uninformed grass-fed producer say that, my beef is just as marbled as any grain-fed beef you've ever seen. And the answer is no, it is not. It's not.
Mm-hmm. Well, it doesn't sound like it should be either. I think that's kind of the point there, right? I liked when you started off, you said that steer's an athlete. That says it all. I mean, you've got me that's pushing 215, 220. And, I should be fighting weight around 170. And, that's just how it is. I'm eating a lot of marbled meat.
Well, and I'm not saying I practice what I preach. I weigh too much. I weigh too much as well, but it's not from eating crappy food. It's because I eat copious quantities.
That's when you're making the food, that's kind of like the drug dealers. They don't smoke their own stash. Well, when we make food, we got it around us all the time. That's right.
Yeah, right.
So now, do you run a CSA out of your farm as well?
We do. We run a CSA for certified organic vegetables, and we make. We're very rural here, and we don't have much of a local market. Not only is it rural, it's sparsely populated in a pretty high poverty area, and not a real enlightened customer base here. So we make deliveries to the 4 cities that and they're not large towns, you would call them, but that surround us. They are Tallahassee, Florida, Columbus, Georgia, Dothan, Alabama, and Albany, Georgia. It's about 50 miles to 2 of them and about 80 miles to the other 2. And we offer those vegetable CSA numbers discount on meat and eggs.
Gotcha. So
and pet food. We make pet food as well.
Oh, do you? Okay. One of the things that I've noticed in the industry is that people like you are I don't know how to say this, not as common practice as the farming, but we've got a lot of young farmers trying to get into the sustainable market and start somewhere. So do you have any advice for anybody out there that's a young farmer wanting to get into farming?
There is a lot of that. A lot of young farmers, most of whom did not come off the farm. Most of them are non-agricultural people.
Right.
And I think there's only one thing for those people to do, and that's find a successful farm that is specializing in what you want to grow, and hopefully in the same geography that you intend to grow it, and go to work. be an apprentice or, hourly employee or whatever you have to be. And, you're not going to learn it at the land grant university. I graduated from the land grant university, put my children through the land grant university, and it's great. It's a wonderful education, but it's not going to you will not learn the sustainable, organic, humane, practices, there well enough to make a living. There's just not in the books. You won't learn it going to the conferences. You got to just say, I'm going to take this year or 2 or 3 or 4 and go to work with this guy and learn what he knows.
I'll tell you firsthand, I doubt there's a school or a conference or a book that's going to teach you how to unbind a hay bind and how to fix a round baler that you loaded too much in the center. And that kind of experience you can't get until you're on the tractor.
Yeah.
You know? And it's replacing discs on the plow. Holy cow. It's just, there's so much stuff you got to learn. You don't just go out and buy a farm and say, all right, we're all going to be farmers.
We've got, I'm in very rural South Georgia. I'm in the part of Georgia where, it comes together with Florida and Alabama. And, we've got people here, and I told you we've got 110 employees. About half of them, maybe a little more, moved here from somewhere else. They're not local people. About half of them are local people we hired, but the other half moved here. We've got people here from Philadelphia, Brooklyn, Detroit, Miami, cities all over the country. Chicago, and they came here to learn.
Well, here's another question for you, a little bit off I guess not off the topic, but just on the side of it. I imagine you save some seeds, right? Do you do an heirloom? Like, do you save your own seeds?
The answer is yes, but now, I'm the livestock guy. We've got a very, very skilled, passionate, young man that runs the organic vegetable farm, for us, and he's an employee. Mm-hmm. But he's very talented, and I have an enormous amount of trust in him. He runs it very autonomously, and he is a seed saver and all that sort of thing. But I don't know enough about it. I know just enough about it to make a real fool of myself.
Well, I'll ask you this one question and then I'll leave it alone. Do you guys ever have any run-ins with seed manufacturers about saving your seeds?
No, I'm familiar with that. I'm familiar with those kinds of problems, but we have not had that.
May you never have that run-in. Right.
We have not. We don't keep. We're not real high profile. We kind of do what we think we need to do, and so many farmers who have been successful are, wind up being more evangelists than farmer or rancher, and on the speaker circuit and writing books and magazine articles, and we don't do that. I'm not out to change the way anybody else farms. There's a certain way that I want to farm, and I've been blessed to find a clientele that will buy enough of my product to allow me to cash flow my business so I can farm the way I want to. And, I'm not an evangelist. I'm not trying to change the world. I'm just trying to change white oak pastures.
And we appreciate you doing it, and we appreciate you coming on the show. It's been an awesome interview, and if nothing else, you're living, breathing proof that you can have a successful, organic, responsible farm.
Yeah, we're very pleased that we made the changes that we made.
Well, hey, you just keep at it, man. I think you got a couple more customers tonight, that's for sure.
Yeah. I know I'm gonna go by.
Yeah.
Well, and I tell you, we've just put in 4 1-bedroom cabins and 1 2-bedroom cabins. They're really nice, and we've got, as I mentioned earlier, a farm-to-table restaurant here on the farm. We raise all the meat and almost all the vegetables and eggs. So I invite y'all to come see us.
Heck
right.
yeah. I've got a friend of mine out not too far from you. Keeps bugging me to come out and see her too. So I might have to go stop by that and take you up on that.
Y'all look it up on whiteoakpastures.com.
Yeah, I'm looking at the website. We will go ahead and get that website posted on our show notes as well. So, hey, I appreciate all your time, Will. Keep doing what you're doing, and you know, you may not be trying to change the world, but I think you are. So, I wish you the best.
I enjoy talking to y'all. Come see us.
That was a good interview. I really like that guy. I want to be like him when I grow up.
You need some land to do that.
Yeah. I wonder, I wish we would have asked him how many acres. Does it say on his bio or anything how many acres he's running?
You know, I don't know.
It's got to be pretty substantial.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, yeah.
And he's servicing 4 cities?
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah. 4 cities with the CSA. Yeah.
$7 million into upgrades on the land in the last couple of years.
I mean, the guy's doing it right.
Yeah. That's for sure. Sounds like he's got a pretty good relationship with the USDA inspector too, which that's money right there.
I was really intrigued about the marbled beef. I never thought about it that way. I mean, you're buying a diseased animal.
You've heard me make that argument though, haven't you?
No, I don't think I have.
Like people will say, "Oh yeah, I've got this great marbled meat, grass fed." No, you don't.
Yeah.
So, and I hope he knows I wasn't trying to argue with him about it.
He'd take you out.
Sounded like he was going to reach through the microphone and jack me in the mouth.
Funny.
I was like, "Oh dear."
That's a man who knows.
Boy.
He knows what he's talking
crap.
about. He knows what he's talking about. Yeah, if you guys are out in that area in Georgia or Florida area down there, whiteoakpastures.com. Check them out. Go online. You can buy the food. You can buy rabbit and lamb and beef and all sorts of stuff right from the website. I have no idea what shipping is, but man, it looks good.
Yeah, I'm excited. They've even got rabbit on there. I might have to direct some of my customers to buy the rabbit through their site just so they can get a taste of it.
Yeah.
Doesn't look like it's too, shipping might double the cost, but.
Yeah, but compared to what you can buy it here for, it's still not bad. So
I think it was $25 for a rabbit. And
yeah,
here it was,
whole rabbit.
Oh man, $60. No, that was for 2 rabbits.
About $10 a pound.
$10 a pound.
So pretty darn close. His is 3 to 4 pounds for $26 ish. But go on the website, check it out. Depending on where you are, it's a good resource.
Yeah.
So he sells gift certificates and stuff too. Actually.
Well, there you go, Don. My birthday's coming up next year.
Yeah. Next year.
I had to think about that. It's in April and we're in July.
Yeah.
Christmas?
Not going to happen.
How about our anniversary? I don't know when it
Awesome. So I guess I talked about my wee-wee already, so I'm going to let that go. But I'm still hung up on this thing.
You're still hung up.
I mean, come on. You try to have an intelligent conversation with somebody and they come back with that. It's just like, I just can't get over it.
This reminds me of the grade school playground.
I know. It just pisses me off. I want to support Whole Foods. So I got a little slack that I went out and I sought out some of these people. And I did. I antagonized a little bit, I'm sure, because they said, boycott Whole Foods or whatever. Yeah. And so that's the tag I used in my tweets. I said, no, I support Whole Foods, eat more meat, hashtag boycott Whole Food rabbit or something, whatever the hashtag was on Twitter, and got into this whole thing. So anyway.
So you picked a fight.
No, I said my opinion. I want to support Whole Foods because they had to pull rabbits off the shelf. They're saying it doesn't affect me. I went out and picked a fight. No, they picked a fight when they went in and took the product that I want to buy off the shelves because they are selfish and don't give a crap about sustainability. So now I can't go in and support a company that is doing things a little bit more sustainable, that I want to go buy their products and support them and vote with my dollar. I don't have that option. Because a couple of people get in front of, they dress up in furry costumes and stand in front of Whole Foods and protest. And what is Whole Foods supposed to do? They got to take it off the shelves. I don't blame them.
When the furries show up, you got to just abide.
There's not a bunch of furries in front of Whole Foods. I mean, what do you do? As a retail establishment, you do what, you don't want that.
If I had a retail establishment and a bunch of guys were in furry costumes out front, I think I'd have to open up the fire hydrant. Get rid of them.
Yeah. Be very, very quiet.
I I'd call up Elmer Fudd.
Yeah, you get an Elmer Fudd costume and just stand there next to him and
eating a bucket of rabbit.
it just, I don't get it. And one of the gentlemen who actually I invited on the podcast, because he can actually have legitimate discussions, sent me an article in the New York Times about sustainability being a myth.
Uh-huh.
A very interesting article. I'll see if I can post a link in the show notes. But it's one guy's opinion, and basically the article comes down to, well, it's not really sustainable because you're buying outside food sources. Well, no, not really. I've seen this. In fact, I've done it, as I know you have. It can be sustainable. Do you need outside resources to be put in? Sure. Mm-hmm. Does that make it completely non-sustainable? No. In fact, once you get started, you can produce excess and be 100% sustainable. So I disagree with that. Now, has it been done on a large scale? I kind of doubt it. No. On a factory scale. But that's not what this is about. It's about teaching people how to become a little more sustainable. And even if you're just doing rabbit and you buy it, you're still voting with your dollar over beef or chicken in these factory farms. And that's what pisses me off.
Yeah, they took away the ability to stick it to the people that are doing it wrong.
Right.
And that's what I want to tell people is, yeah, if you are an animal rights activist, in your world, choose the lesser of two evils, or actually go after the greater of two evils. If you think that killing an animal to eat it is wrong, don't attack the little guy that's trying to give the animal the best life possible. Go after the big dogs. Go after the people that are
Tyson.
Well, there you go. Name them. Okay.
Monsanto.
Yeah. Go after the a-holes. Go after the ones that are really putting the hurt to animals, making them sit in their own feces. That's who you should target, not the guy that's trying to avoid eating that stuff, trying to avoid paying for that.
Right. We need options.
Exactly. You're not going to stop people from eating meat.
No.
It's too delicious.
Right. And I think, in fact, we've got a movie screening coming up at Gompers.
That's
for
right.
Food Patriots. And one of the things that movie is about changing 10%. Just change 10%. Buy 10% organic. Buy 10% local grass-fed. Buy 10%, and you make a huge dent. If everybody were to change 10%, the money that you're putting into that market is going to turn these other factory farms and industrial things around, and you're going to support local people and local farmers. Like Will Harris. You're going to support places like that at White Oak Pastures, and he's doing it right. So it's not go out and protest having rabbit. I don't understand why these people aren't out there protesting Tyson. Mm-hmm. My chickens are my pets.
Yeah.
We have them for eggs. They're pets. I'm going to eat them when they're done laying eggs, but still, they're pets. I got no problem doing that. So,
you've got a dog in there that looks like it's been on full feed for a while.
It's not a dog. He's a cow. I'm telling you that.
It's a barking cow.
He's our emergency food supply. And I hope my wife isn't listening because she will smack me. No.
That is one big dog.
Well, you always, when we do our classes and stuff, I always say, help me save my dogs.
Yeah.
And that's what it's about because I've got a lot to save with him.
Yeah, because
the big dog.
A hungry neighbor looking at that dog would just salivate.
You got it. So teach the community. So, hey, I'm vaping my bud out e-juice today. How was that? Was that a good segue?
You're vaping your butt out.
That's right. We've got I am vaping my butt off.
I had this image of a green cloud.
So I'm still off of cigarettes.
There you go.
And thanks to these guys, I plan to stay there. So one of our sponsors, Bud Out e-cigs, go check them out online. Go to the website. They got a link over there. You can order online as well if you're not local. If you're local, go down to any of the 3 stores, Tempe, Mill Avenue, and downtown on 7th Street in Virginia down there. Great places to go. Go visit the guys, tell them We Grow Ours sent you. Even if you don't go buy anything and you're in the area, stop by and learn about it. Cool. If you can refer somebody, cool. If you know somebody that vapes, tell them about it and tell them that the We Grow Ours sent you. So.
Yeah, if you know anybody that's on cigarettes and wants to get off of them.
Yeah, exactly. Don't forget to leave us feedback on the website, wegrowers.com/ask us. You can click the voicemail tab and record. You can also do that on Facebook, facebook.com/wegrowers, twitter.com/wegrowers, YouTube, search wegrowers. What else do we got?
I think you hit them all.
Yeah. Well, and thank you to our other sponsors, My Lavender Life for essential oils. Check that out again on our website, hostlehair.com. That would be Nick.
I know them. They're awesome.
EcoPod Gardens for all your aquaponics needs. So, those are our show sponsors. Don't forget, go get those tickets if you're local in Phoenix for August 23rd, Saturday. We're going to do the Food Patriots screening. Come out, enjoy that with us. The snack bar will be open. I think we're going to do a little raffle or at least a few giveaways. So come out and check that out. It's free, but we ask that you donate at the door. It's a nonprofit. You can get a receipt and do that whole tax write-off thing and enjoy that. So what else you got, Nick?
You're going to have a free giveaway on hostlehair.com soon.
Yeah. All right. Next week.
That's right. Next week.
The episode on
Doomsday Preppers.
Yep.
National Geographic.
When are you going to be on?
6 o'clock.
6 o'clock Arizona time, 9 p.m. Eastern.
9 p.m. Eastern. So wherever you're at in the country, 9 p.m. Eastern. Well, check it out this week. I think that the TV guide's been published now.
Yeah. I got to see one of the commercials and you're shooting a flamethrower. So next week on the podcast, actually, we're going to have a show devoted. It'll be Nick and I devoted to, in fact, you think Cherie can come? You think she will for that?
We kind of hit
I might be able to get Angie in too.
We hit some heartstrings in the filming of that episode.
Yeah, that was there's some drama in the Klein household.
There was almost some paperwork involved after that one.
That's right. The last name's almost changed again.
Apparently, a clean backyard means two different things. One in my mind and one in hers. And, I didn't meet expectations. We'll just put it that way.
So he ended up in my backyard.
That's right. So we went to Dawn's house, and Dawn's house is awesome. We'll talk about more of that next week.
Yes. So maybe we'll have the wives in for that episode if we can get them here.
Yeah, that'll take some convincing.
So check out next week's episode for the Doomsday Prepper, and don't miss it on National Geographic. July 31st, which is Thursday, somewhere between 6 and 9, depending on where you live.
There you go.
All right.
I'm going to be famous. Thanks for tuning in, guys. We'll catch you next.